Hey now, Matt LaBarber Music here, and today we are talking about tabs and how to read them. Okay, very, very cool, very helpful thing that, there's just a few little parts about it that might be confusing at first. And once you understand what those little things mean, opens up the door to millions of songs. Okay, there's a lot of tabs out there. There's sites that have tabs on them. There's YouTube videos that have tabs on them. And once you know how to read them, you can play pretty much anything as long as you know how it goes. The advantage to reading sheet music would be it tells you the rhythm as well as which notes to play. But if it's a song you already know and you know the rhythm, then this just kind of is a shorthand way of telling you where to put your fingers, how many times to play each note, for example. So I'm going to walk you through the things that I've noticed my students have trouble with in our lessons, okay? So the first thing is, what it means when it says a number on a certain string, right? So that's something you can't really work your way around. You got to know, right? This is the E string, this is the A, this is the D, and this is the G, okay? E, A, D, G. And usually in tabs, the E string, since it's the lowest sound, will be on the bottom, which is confusing because you'd think like this would be on the top because it's the closest to your head. But really, the way music is written is from lowest to highest. So this is the lowest sound, and the A string is a little bit higher, D is higher than that, and G is higher than that. So the E string will be the one that's on the bottom, and the A will be the next string up, D, G, okay? Very important. And again, it's the opposite of what you would think. It's kind of counterintuitive, right? But once you know that, that might just solve all of your problems right there. But there's always numbers written somewhere on those lines. There's usually 4 lines, right? And if you see, for example, if you see a 5 on the E string, that means that you play the 5th fret on E. And then let's say, for example, it goes up to 5 on A, then you'd play 5 on A. So that's what the numbers mean. The numbers are the frets that you're playing, and the letters, E, A, D, G, are the strings that you play them on. Okay, so I'm going to use an example of a song that I did in one of my videos, Green Onions, okay? And I'll put a link to the video up there in case you just want to check out the song. But first I'm going to show you, and of course it's not my song, it's just a video I did with Booker T and the MGs. So the main riff, okay, for the song. Is that, okay? So really I'm playing 1 on the E string, and then I'm playing 4 on the E string, and then 1 on the A, 4 on the E, back to 1 on the E. So when you look at the tab, you're going to see 1, 1, 4, and this 1 is on the A string. It goes up higher, right? So 1, 1, 4, 1, back down for 4, and then 1. Now you're going to see that that riff repeats over and over again. And rather than write it out, however many times, I think it's 4 in a row. Now, rather than write that same riff over and over again, I will just put, repeat times 4 or times 4. Some tabs do not do that. It'll just say 1, 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, like over and over again. But if I was doing shorthand, which I usually do in my videos, I would just say times 4. Okay, that means you play that same riff 4 times. And then you'd notice that when I get to the next part, it's the same riff, but it's higher. It starts in the A string. It starts on 1 on A, and then 4 on A, then 1 on D, back to 4 on A, and then 4 or 1 on A. So and you'll see that, that riff again, I might repeat it twice or put times 2, or since it's short, maybe I'd write it, both ways. But the main thing to pay attention to is that first riff, it's the same set of numbers, right? As riff number 2, but riff number 2 starts up higher, so it'll be on a different line, on the A and D strings instead of the E and the A. Very helpful thing to know, right? Just seeing that those 2 riffs are in different places. And there's really like 2 more riffs in the song. I might as well show it to you so you can try and play along. This part of the song, you're on the 3rd fret of the A string, and then you go to the 6th fret, 3rd fret of the D, 6th fret of the A, and then back to 1 on A, 4 on A, 1 on D, 4 on A. So that's the whole song, really, if you're looking at it in tabs, right? Oh, don't make that mistake. And then it goes back to the first riff twice. Okay? So you'll notice that there's some similarities there, which is amazing, right? But then that same riff would be repeated on a different string. So that's all you really need to know to be able to play a song like that, is just which fret, what the numbers mean. The numbers mean the frets, and what the letters mean, that means what string you're on. Okay? Excellent. So far, so good. Next, we're going to go on to some things that are in some different songs, which are called hammer-ons and pull-offs. Now, before we do that, I just want to encourage you, if you haven't already, to please subscribe to my channel and like this video if you're enjoying the information, or pass it along to anybody that you think might enjoy it. So your subscriptions and comments and all that stuff keep me moving, keep me wanting to do this kind of stuff. So thank you so much. And if you have already subscribed, double thank you. Okay, so we're going to talk about hammer-ons. Now, what a hammer-on is, okay, is it's when you play a note, and then instead of plucking that note again, right, to get to the next, or plucking that string again to get to the next note, really all I'm doing is I'm bringing my finger down hard on that string. I'm not plucking it twice. So I'm going to show you an example from another song I did, Freddie's Dead by Curtis Mayfield, and I'll put a link to that video up there. Okay, so if you need to listen to it. But you're going to see that the main riff goes like this. I'll just play it for you first. Okay, now that is the riff. So there's a couple of things happening in here that if you pluck all of those notes individually, it's not going to sound the same. So a hammer-on is kind of like slurring your words together. Instead of going, basketball, it's basketball. Right? Do you hear I'm not really pronouncing every syllable, right? And hammer-ons give you more of like a smooth, kind of slurred together sound. So instead of going, I'm going to go, okay? You may already know how to do this, but just in case you don't, I'm going to describe it to you, okay? So what I'm doing is I'm only plucking once, and I'm plucking pretty hard on the 2nd fret. And then I'm really pushing my 3rd finger down really hard on the 4th fret. And I'm getting 2 notes for the price of 1. So instead of going, and you'd see that represented usually with an H in between the 2 and the 4. Sometimes I'll put in mine, since I can handwrite them instead of do them on the computer, I'll do a line over the top to indicate that it's a hammer-on, put an H in there. But I'll write it out in the way that you'd see it on, like, say, Ultimate Guitar or something like that. It says 2 and then H4. And then 2 on the D string. So both of those are on the A. Another one. Another one. And now I'm going to do a pull-off. And what that means is it's the opposite of a hammer-on. Before we were pushing our finger down to get the sound. And now what I'm going to do is the opposite. I'm going to play from 4 to 2 on the A string. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pluck on the 4, and I use the skin of my 3rd finger, my ring finger, to pull down on the string a little bit. And that is going to help us get that type of sound where, again, we're getting 2 notes for the price of 1. And if I really want to get fancy, I can actually get 3 for the price of 1 by doing a hammer-on and a pull-off, right? Now, again, it takes time to master these techniques if you don't know them already. So the way that would look would be 2H4 and then 4P2. You see that? And then I'm going 4 on my E string, open on my E string. So here's that whole riff, and here's the tab. I'll do it again. All right. So that's hammer-ons and pull-offs, okay? So far, so good. You guys are doing great. Okay. So, or I'm assuming you're doing great. And again, let me know if you have questions beyond, what I've answered in this video. I'm going to talk to you about one more thing that you often see, which is the slide. Okay. Now, you could play a note and then, jump up to get to that other note. But why do that if you could actually just slide to it, right? It's a very cool sound. It's smoothly connected notes. So a lot of times that is represented in tabs by a slash, like a line in between 2 notes. Right here, I'm going to do it on the 11th fret of the G string. Or I mean the 10th fret, sorry about that, 10th fret of the G string, and I'm going to slide up to the 11th fret of that string. So that little line in between the 10 and the 11 indicates that I'm supposed to slide. Sometimes it'll be a wavy line, sometimes it'll say slide, but most of the time people just put that little slash, and that indicates that you're going to be sliding. So now I'm going to show you this riff that I did in a video by Marvin Gaye for Inner City Blues, okay? Which, there it is up there if you want to check it out. And I'm going to show you the main riff, okay? Now you're going to see we're going to have some hammer-ons in there too, which is awesome. So you might as well do the callback and bring it all together, right? So here is, I'm on the 11th fret, or I mean the 13th fret of the D string, then 13 on A. I'm going to hammer on between 11 and 13 on the D. So, and now here's our good friend the slide, 10 to 11 on the G string. So all together. And now I'm going to play 13 and 13 on the D and the A string. And here's another hammer on the D. Then I'm going to go to the E string on the 11th fret. So I've covered all 4 strings. And now there's a second riff, very similar. It starts the same, 13, 13, hammer on between 11 and 13. And what I'm doing there is I'm sliding from 11 to 13 on the G string. And then I'm doing the pull off, right? So this has everything. Geez, what a good example, Matt. This has everything we've done before and all 4 strings. It's almost like I had a plan, right? I'm sliding up to 13, and then I do a pull off back to 11. So here's riff number 2. And then it ends on 13, 13, hammer on from 11 to 13, and then 11 on the E. So here's the whole thing. Oh boy, okay. So that riff includes notes on all 4 strings, like I said, hammer on, pull off, slide. With those things, you can basically rule the world, okay? That's just about all you'll need to know for reading just about any tab. If I'm incorrect, or if you see, you can even, if you have a specific question about a specific tab, you can post a link and I can take a look at it and maybe try to answer your questions. I always would encourage you to email me, go to matt@labarbermusic.com, send me a message. I'd be happy to answer your questions if I can. And again, tabs are amazing, and you will be even more amazing if you learn how to read them properly. So hopefully I've helped you to be able to answer some of these questions. And again, please, if you enjoy this video, subscribe to my channel, help me out, share this video with your friends that might have questions about tabs, or check out some of my other videos. I have so many different things on there that I think can help you, even just songs that I love. So thanks again for your time, and I'll look forward to seeing you again in the future. Happy Bassin'.